Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Chillin with Joey. It's just me today. I hope you're ready. It's going to be a good one. So, anyway, it's only me today. It's not difficult to get people to come on the show. It's just I don't want to burn through all my friends so quickly. It's not easy. Anybody who has a podcast and does things where they have people come on and do things with them knows that scheduling can be difficult. Finding the right people, the right topic. For me, it's just like, yeah, we're sitting around talking. We're just enjoying the conversation, but at the same time, I want to make sure that the people want to do it. And I'm taking a break with getting people on, so I figured I'd just do one, just with me. Give it a little go. This one will probably be shorter than my other ones, just because it is just me. I don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. But I do have a topic I wanted to talk about. It's a topic that anyone who knows me knows that it's near and dear to my heart and more my stomach. It's food. In the food industry, and anybody watching who wants to make a comment about, big surprise, he wants to talk about food, save it. Thank you. It's food for me, and not just food. I don't want to say just food, but the art of cooking and the industry of cooking and restaurants and things like that have always been one of my biggest passions. I did it I'll get into my backstory, but I did it for such a long time that it was one of those things I'm surprised I didn't talk about before on the show. Just because, I don't want to get too personal. I don't need to be people knowing my blood type and my social security number. But I do want people to know a little bit about me. And one of the things I really love and I really enjoy is cooking. And anybody who follows me on Instagram at chillin_w_joey knows that I do post pictures of food sometimes. And it's because I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy it because it's one of those things. It's art. Not only is it art, it's therapeutic. It's one of those things where it can be a lot of work depending on what you make. Depending on, like, if you're making like a food item with an ingredients list, a whole page just of ingredients. It's going to be a little more time consuming and prep work and things like that. But it's still one of those things that, when it's all said and done, you sit down, you enjoy it, and you reflect. I'm a big supporter of things that you do with your hands and things that you use your mind for creative purposes, and cooking is definitely one of those things. And you get to eat. But the reason it's my passion is because ever since I was a child, I can remember wanting to touch the stove. And it wasn't like a curiosity, like, ooh, what's that? It was like, I know what this is. I know what it does. I see what comes from it. It's one of those things that I always was drawn to as a child. When I was younger, by younger, I mean a kid, I want to say maybe 5 or 6. I can't remember. Might have been 5 or 6. I would watch Food Network on loop. Emerald Live. For anyone out there who remembers Emerald Live on the Food Network, can probably understand where I'm coming from. He had such passion. He had such passion for the food itself and the cooking and the feeding people, and you get a sense of fulfillment when you see people eat something you've created, and that was what I did. I used to watch that constantly, and I would want to do it. I remember playing in the sand, pretending like I'd make sand and water and make it look like a piece of meat, and I was a dumb kid. Not much has changed. Thank you. Anyway, he was one inspiration for me growing up. Another was, and they had reruns, Julia Child. She just made cooking seem more homey. Emerald wore the chef coat, and he had an audience, so it seemed much more. He had to be much more. I don't want to say professional, but professional is, I guess, the word you have to use. But Julia Child made things seem so relaxed, and yeah, you could do it too. Like, here I am, so you can do it too. And other cooks, I remember watching Alton Brown, and again, Food Network. When this is as a kid, I still hadn't researched any other chefs at that time other than what I saw on Food Network. There was no, you have to remember, the internet came out when I was relatively young, and even then I didn't know what I was doing. Still to this day, I don't know what I'm doing really. I'm winging it. But Alton Brown, Tyler Florence, I was never a big Bobby Flay guy. I like some of his stuff. I make his Jack Daniel's cranberry sauce every holiday. But I can't say I'm a fan. But guys like that. And then as I got older, I learned more of other chefs. I remember the first time I ever cooked anything. You're gonna love this story. Shows you how a child's mind works. I wanted fried rice, and being a kid, how old was I? I had to have been 9. I think I was 9 or 10. I wanted fried rice. I wanted it in the worst way. I don't know what it was. I just wanted fried rice. Anyway, being me, fried rice, you just take rice and you fry it. Not deep fry it, but you fry it in a pan. And we had a wok. So I was like, rice, wok. What else? I knew it had meat. I used hot dogs. I used hot dogs and I used soy sauce because I knew it was Chinese. Soy sauce Chinese? It was Chinese. I used soy sauce, hot dogs, and rice and just fried it in a pan. And I ate the fucking bowl. I ate the whole bowl. The rice was crunchy. The hot dogs were cold. It was salty as a bastard. I hated it. I hated, looking back on it, I know I had to have hated it, but I ate it. Because, I'm also not one for wasting food. Not because I feel like the starving children around the world, like that guilt trip. I mean, it's true, but it's always a guilt trip. You better eat that. There's kids around the world who don't have food. I mean, yeah, it's true, but at the same time, I didn't want food to go to waste because I would want it the next day. I'm a huge Leftovers fan. Anyway. Yeah, that was the first, and I used to make my own school lunches. I had my mom on the show. Anyone who saw that episode, she can attest to it, and I'm gonna tell her to watch this video and back me up on this in the comments. I would make my own school lunches. If I didn't want what she was making me, I made what I wanted, and she said, "Go right ahead." She was always very supportive. I love her for it. She wasn't the cook in the family though. Dad was the cook. Dad was the cook in the family. Still is. Dad's the cook in the family. Mom tried. I love you, Mom, but Dad can cook better than you. Anyway, no, that facts are facts. And I being of Portuguese descent, he would make like everything. Like, it wasn't just Portuguese food, but the Portuguese food he made. Like, he makes. Any Portuguese person out there who knows what kale soup is, he makes one of the best kale soups I've ever had. He makes great. Here I am. Yeah, I'm Portuguese. That's for sure. Pork alajada. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's pork meat, potatoes, and little neck clams. So good. He's just. My dad was always the cook. And he gives me a recipe today. Even if I follow it to the T, I cannot make it like him. I mean, different hands. That I don't know how the saying goes exactly, but you could give two people the same exact recipe and they won't make exactly the same. That's where I come from. I come from a mother who was extremely supportive of my dreams, because my dream was to cook and not only cook, but not even be on TV. I mean, obviously when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, I want to be on TV. But like, as it was just to cook. I just wanted to cook, like the restaurant and making food and like painting pictures on plates. That's what cooking is. Excuse me. I'm gonna take a sip of my Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. Chillin with Joey runs on Dunkin. I'm not sponsored by Dunkin, but Dunkin, if you want to throw money at anyone, I got you. I'll catch those dollar bills. Delicious. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I just wanted to be part of that lifestyle. I mean, again, as a kid, it's you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't. Some of my inspirations, scratch that. School. I'll get into my other inspirations after I grow up a little bit. School. I went to a trade school, and I took culinary arts, cooking, and I was good at it. I was really good. The book part of it, the classroom part of it, not so hot. But in high school, I was one of the top 2 students in the kitchen, from what I remember. Maybe top 3. But I love doing it. I mean, like every kid, you bitch and complain, and there's things you don't want to do, like make croissants. Anybody who's ever made croissants from scratch, you'll feel my pain. You probably feel it in your shoulders and your wrists from rolling out the dough and folding the dough and filling it with butter and then folding it and rolling it and filling it with butter and then fold it and wash, rinse, repeat. And I always got thrown on that because it was a lot of heavy lifting. Fun times. But I loved it. I mean, some of the teachers I had were just some of the smartest people I could be around. And again, in high school, you don't think anybody's smarter than you. You think you rule the world. You think you're going to live forever. But looking back on it, I had some awesome teachers. Awesome teachers. One recently passed away. I'll never forget him. We called him Mr. B. Mr. B. His last name was Bertoncini. He was a tough, and not tough in a mean way, but just tough, stern. He was the baking instructor while I was there, and I hated baking so much. We would be on rotations, baking one week, kitchen another, dining room another, and I hated baking. I hated it so much. Not because of him. I loved him. He was such an awesome dude. I just hated the act of baking. I hate baking. My wife does the baking. I don't bake. I tried making apple crisp a couple days ago, and she made it. I hate it. I hate it so much. And apple crisp was easy. That's not the point. The point is I didn't like it. But I had a lot of lessons from him that I learned. And those are lessons you can only learn from someone who understands what it's like to be young and dumb and just full of piss and vinegar, as they say. Oh yeah, I know what to do. You don't know shit. Anyway, some life lessons that I learned from him that I'll never forget are and this is everyone who works anywhere. If there's time to lean, there's time to clean. Stay busy. There's always something to be done, even if you don't want to. Don't. And I was in a class that liked to hide. Just wander off somewhere. Some people. There was another lesson he taught me and whoever else, that we would be scraping out the big industrial-sized mixing bowls. And those big industrial-sized mixing bowls, when you're scraping out like batter or whatever's in there, if you left more than like a spoonful in there, and when I say spoonful, I mean like a spoon you eat with. If you left more than a spoon in there, he would come up to you with a scraper. He'd say, "What are you doing? That's your vacation money in there. Scrape all that out." And and I think the point, obviously, that's more of a hands-on lesson with that like specific task. Sorry, I can't English. With that specific task, but it just goes to show, like, do the extra, do the little extra. Don't cut corners. Don't cut corners in life. Like, if you're gonna do it right. Excuse me. In high school, like, again, it was one of those things where I wanted to do I just wanted to be behind the stove. Like, I didn't want to do the baking. I didn't want to mix things and put them away and put them in the oven and sit there and wait for things to be done. I wanted to cook. I wanted fire. I wanted people yelling. I wanted sharp knives. I wanted to hear the whoosh of the flames and the sizzle of the deep fryer and all that. That's what I wanted. I wanted to hear all those noises and be a part of that chaotic ballet, which is working in a kitchen. That's trademarked. I'm trademarking that right now. Chaotic ballet, the kitchen life. I'm gonna write a book. Anyway, that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. I was in high school to learn. In high school, I had kitchen jobs. I was a dishwasher, which that's where you start. I hated it because I didn't want to start there. I was one of those people who wanted to start. I wanted to learn what I wanted to do. But again, back then, I didn't realize there's a ladder you have to climb. There's a chain of command. You start, thank you, Drake. You start from the bottom, and then you work your way up. And back then I didn't want that because I knew what I wanted to do, and that wasn't it. I didn't think like, okay, I have to start here, and I have to go to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. I that wasn't even part of my mind. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And washing dishes was not it. Oddly enough, now I enjoy washing dishes. I find it to be calming, and I'm kidding. But that was my high school. I mean, from there, I like every other high school kid. I think 80% of the high school kids nowadays work in fast food. I was one of them. I worked at McDonald's. I did everything, whatever they asked me to do. It was the dishwashing job that I lost prepared me for the actuality of life, which isn't even actually a sentence. The realization that you have to start where they put you. Like, if they put you in a certain spot, that's where they put you. And then you work your way up. So that's what I did. I did that with McDonald's. I did that with any other job that I went from. I would bounce around a lot. McDonald's, and then I went to another job, and then another job, and then another job. But every time I tried to progress, I didn't try to revert, go backwards. I always wanted to be better, which is something you should always try to do. If you're going to leave something, you should always, if you're going to stop something, you should always try and go to the next level. At least that's what I tried to do. It didn't work out. We'll get to that. So, from high school, I went to college. I went to a community college, and they offered I know I'm veering off, but it's because I'm trying to remember, and I don't want to stare at you guys blankly. I went to college. I went to community college that offered a culinary program. And again, I learned under some of the smartest professors and chefs and people that I think I could learn from. The head of the culinary department was John Caressimo. He was a Sicilian. That man was probably one of the smartest, most no nonsense people. Just in general, people, not as a professor, not as a chef. He was funny. Like, he would crack jokes at everyone else's expense, but he wasn't about horseplay. Sorry, I moved the camera. He was always very professional, but that man was very smart. He was already in his, I want to say he was in his late 60s by the time I had already gone. I went to college in 2008, 2009, 2008, 2008. And he was already older. I don't even know what he's doing now or where he is. But again, I met some really cool people, and I learned things. Still, the baking, you had to do baking, and I hated it. And it was fun. I mean, college, it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't a special college. It wasn't JWU, Johnson and Wales, for anyone who wants to know what JWU means. It wasn't CIA, the Culinary Institute of America. it was a community college that offered a program that A, I could afford, and B, I wanted to do. And it was the same thing. I wanted to learn as much as I could learn. And I did. I learned a lot. I learned just as much in college that I think you could learn in the field. I mean, without the pressures of being in the field, but you learn a lot. At least I did. Now, about the actual industry. Well, now that I just mentioned the chaos of the industry. For anyone listening to this that has the same dreams and aspirations I did to be a chef or be a cook or be in the restaurant industry, you have to sacrifice so much. And I don't mean like your life, like police and fire. I mean fire department. I mean, you have to sacrifice your life in a sense that you won't have one. All right? You will not make a ton of money until you start climbing that ladder. It's possible, but don't expect to make money right away. Don't expect to work. Don't expect for the job to work around your schedule. Don't expect, and again, this is from my experience only, but it seems to be the status quo with the industry as a whole. Don't expect to be off on holidays. The only holiday you get off in the restaurant industry, Christmas. That's it. Mother's Day is the busiest day of the year. The busiest. Everybody wants brunch on Mother's Day. After that, I believe it's Valentine's Day is the second busiest holiday of the year, and I believe the last one, I don't know. I know there's three of the top ones. I can't remember what the last one was. Either Easter or Father's Day. Arbor Day? Kidding. Don't expect to have those days off. Don't expect to see your mom on Mother's Day. Obviously, unless you take the day off and your boss approves it. Good luck with that, by the way. But don't expect to get those days off. Don't expect to, if you're, I always said it, there's the group of people you will never see working the holidays are the people who can't do it. They can't. And I don't mean they can't I can't work that day. No, they can't, meaning the boss doesn't want them there because they'll just slow them down. That's just how it works. If you go to look at your schedule and you're not scheduled for Mother's Day, self-reflect. Take a step back, because the reason they don't want you there is because you'll slow them down. If you'll notice, the best crew is scheduled for those days. At least they should be. People who are actually working there might disagree. They might say this one sucks, that one sucks. That's the nature of the beast. Don't expect to have free time. Again, if you find somewhere that is willing to work with you in your schedule, God bless you. So that way you can have the time you need. But if not, you're going to be working hours that you don't want to work. You're going to be working days you wish you didn't work. You're going to be working through things that are happening in the public side of your life that you're not going to be able to do. Again, from my experience. And the industry today is growing so rapidly. Everyone and their uncle is opening a restaurant or a food truck, or it's just becoming more and more of a trend. Am I happy about it? It doesn't. I mean, what's the average? 90% of restaurants fail within their first year. That's not good for them. I mean, I don't know what they're doing wrong. I mean, I'm lying. I know what they could be doing wrong. A lot of people, one of the biggest problems that people who are opening a restaurant tend to do is they're not what they should be. And I know that sounds like you can't tell people what to be, but you have to, as a restaurateur, as a restaurant owner, you have to know what you want to be. Like, you have to identify, do you want to be a steakhouse, Italian, Chinese, vegan, any other type of cuisine you could think of, just a burger joint. I mean, think about it. A diner, breakfast, lunch only. I mean, you have to really think about what you want to be, and then take that idea and look at what's around you. Too many people want to be what they shouldn't. Too many people are trying to be like the French Laundry. The French Laundry is one of the most famous restaurants in California. They're very high upscale dining, fine dining. I don't know if they classify themselves as that, but if you ever look up the French Laundry, Thomas Keller, owner, head chef, he's one of the greatest chefs in America today. Michelin star chef. I don't know how many he has, but too many people try and be that, and it's not impossible. But you have to. You can't. If you're gonna be a restaurant like that, you have to be somewhere where there's money. You can't be somewhere in the ghetto, where there isn't a lot of cash flow. And I don't mean ghetto meaning like projects. I mean ghetto like it's not a high income area. Excuse me again. Delicious caramel. Because if you're somewhere where the cash isn't and you're charging prices that they can't afford, you are not making money because they're not paying you. And the ones who are paying you, there's a restaurant right now in this not in this city, but in another city. I'm not going to name names. A beer is $16 for, and it's not even for a crazy brand. Samuel Adams. I mean, that's not a crazy brand. That's nuts. That's nuts. I mean, obviously you're trying to make money. That's one of the big things is you're trying to make money. But you're also if you're making a statement like that, a beer for $16, you're definitely weeding out your clientele. And you can't expect that to be okay. And I'm not saying like in a sense that that's wrong. But if that's what you're doing in an area where the people in that town, city, can't afford that, you're not going to be making a lot of money for long. People, a new restaurant pops up. They're busy. Not all the time, but a new restaurant pops up, they're busy. Because it's new. Everybody wants to try what's new. After a little while, word starts to spread. Word of mouth is your best, as a restaurant owner, word of mouth is your best publicity. I don't care what commercials you do. I don't care what advertising you do. I don't care if you put your stuff in the newspaper, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Word of mouth can make or break you. And if your food is good, but your prices are high, people are going to find out. If the food sucks, people are going to find out. If the restaurant is dirty, if no parking, even something small as parking. I mean, you think it's not a big deal, but if you have nowhere to park, how the hell am I supposed to get to you? I'm not gonna park like a mile away just to walk to you. That's not gonna happen. That's just me. I mean, things like that people who are opening restaurants really need to think about. And it's not fair for me to label. I'm not labeling anyone specifically. This is just things that I've seen from not only my personal experiences, but just from watching. You can't expect people to pay champagne prices for beer. It doesn't work that way. Pricing's a big deal. Food is obviously the biggest deal of all because it's a restaurant. That's what you're going there for. You're not going there to look at the walls. It's not an art gallery. It's one of those things that you have to find out what your clientele are looking for. If you're in a place like where I am, I'm not going to name it, but just thinking of the restaurants around here, it's 80% chains. Olive Garden. I mean, there's an Olive Garden in every town. Good luck finding me. I mean, obviously the fast food joints, but Olive Garden, Chili's, Applebee's, Pub 99, all those places. They're all around everywhere. And and it as someone who appreciates food and appreciates ingredients, and someone who really enjoys just the art of cooking, seeing chains like that over someone who privately owns some, and obviously it's a war zone for anyone in competition like that, but it really upsets me that not enough privately owned restaurants are out there. Because if you love to cook and you're working at somewhere named Pub 99 or Applebee's or Chili's or somewhere like that, if you're creative and you have passion, it will die. I'm sorry, because you have no freedom to do something. They literally give you a manual with pictures about how the food's supposed to look. You have no chance. I mean, obviously, it's a great place to start. It is. I'm not going to take that away from the restaurant chain experience as an employee. Excuse me. It's a great place to start. It's a great place to get your feet wet. You learn the rhythm of the kitchen. You learn that chaotic ballet that I mentioned. You learn how to control yourself. You learn the basics. You learn like knife skills if they allow you to use knives. You learn the basics. You learn the tools. After you learn those tools, you need to get the hell out of there. Because if you have a passion for food, if you have a passion for cooking, you won't after working there for too long. That's why I would go from place to place to place. Excuse me. I think I did like a year and then a year and then a year. I mean, does that look good on a resume? No. But for me to progress up that ladder, to learn the things I wanted to learn and do the things I wanted to do, it was a necessary evil, because it's one of those things that, again, it looks bad on a resume. Oh, well, you've had 5 jobs in 5 years. Why is that? And again, I'd have to sit there and explain myself why I did it, what I was doing it for, and where I went and where I was from, and blah blah blah. But it's necessary it's very necessary for you to progress, to get the fuck out of those chains. Start there. Again, get your feet wet. Learn the tools needed. Learn how to control yourself in that environment. Learn if that environment's even for you. And then get out of Dodge. It's sad. Especially, again, the reason I got out of it. Okay? I got out of it. I don't work in the restaurant industry anymore. I got out of it because I wasn't willing. What I'm about to tell you to do is what I wasn't willing to do. You have to sacrifice what you have and where you are and branch out. I wasn't willing to do that. If you want to really learn how to cook, you have to go to the major cities. I'm in the New England area. Boston, Providence, anywhere around Boston. There's obviously the bigger names. Like there's a lot of privately owned restaurants up there. Newport, Rhode Island, Bristol, Rhode Island, Cape Cod. I'm trying to think. Even places in Connecticut. And that's just in this area. There are a lot of opportunities to learn. There's a lot of opportunities to grow. There's a lot of opportunities to make money. But you have to make those sacrifices that I talked about earlier. I wasn't willing to. And that's why I got out of it. I didn't want to do it anymore. Not because I didn't love it, but because I didn't know if going to those places was right for me. And I was scared. I'll be 100% honest with you. Moving to a city like Boston, first of all, you couldn't move. I couldn't. I don't know how these people do it. I couldn't move to Boston. I would have to move to the outskirts of Boston and commute it. Or Providence. Or any of those other places I mentioned, because I was looking around everywhere. I really wanted to do it. I was really looking for it. And then I thought, like, I can't do it. And I don't know how other people do it. I commend them. Congratulations. That's good on you. I mean, I couldn't. Do I miss it? Now that I'm doing what I'm doing, and I've been doing it for a number of years now, I don't miss it, the industry, as much, but I do miss the actual art of it. I miss the art of it. I do a lot of it at home. I don't do as much of it as the wife does. She does most of the cooking. I have a little joke. She cooks more, but I cook better. Just making sure she didn't hear me. Anyway. I still do it here. I still do it at home. Anybody who follows me on Instagram, or I don't really do much of the pictures on Facebook. Facebook's kind of a hassle. To do it on the page, I gotta go from Instagram to the. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see pictures of my cooking. I love it. My biggest inspiration for now, and it's weird. My favorite chef we'll go back. I'm going back now because I forgot. My favorite chef now is Gordon Ramsay. And I don't mean his American things. The American TV Gordon Ramsay is not Gordon Ramsay. It's not. He's. Does he have a temper? Yes, in the kitchen, not just for the sake of screaming. Like Hell's Kitchen's fake. Hell's Kitchen's bullshit. No, that's not him. Kitchen Nightmares US, that's not him. You want to see real Gordon Ramsay? There's 2 shows that aired a long time ago. You'll notice a difference. He looks so much younger. Kitchen Nightmares UK. Look up the UK version. It's the same thing as Kitchen Nightmares US without all the drama, the music, the quick cut bullshit, and him like looking disgusted. I mean, yeah, the things in the US that he sees are disgusting, but I mean, how much of it is him that acts like that? I'm not sure. And then the other one, it's my favorite one. It's called The F Word, and the F stands for food. That's what he says. But that's my favorite show with him in it. It's him in a random restaurant with a group of people who are rookies. They call them commies. They're basically just upstarts. They're just starting out. And like they show him, his family, what he's doing at home, raising animals to slaughter them. It's a totally different animal out there in the UK. I fucking love it. I would never go there, but watching that show, it just brings Gordon Ramsay to a whole new light, and you can really appreciate him as a chef so much more. You can understand why he's one of the most respected chefs in the world. Maybe not by his peers. I don't know exactly how that works with people who work around him, but as far as like looking up to him, yeah, big time. He's my favorite chef. I mean, there's definitely others. Anthony Bourdain, when he was, I mean, rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. I've read his book, Kitchen Confidential, to hear his story and where he came from and how he rose through the ranks. That was a great book. Read that book, Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. I highly recommend it. David Chang. I like David Chang. Wiley Dufresne. There's a whole bunch of chefs. I can't remember all their names. But these are guys that, as I matured in my culinary experiences, I kind of went away from the Emerald and the Food Network and went toward these like Thomas Keller, and went towards guys like Thomas Keller and Gordon Ramsay and Wiley Dufresne and David Chang and Anthony Bourdain, and the list goes on and on and on and on, and I can't, and I'm a little stuck on names, but if I see faces, I know them. It's an industry that is not for the lighthearted. You have to really want it. You have to really. Eric Rapere, that's another chef. Eric, he's French. He's a French seafood. He specializes in seafood. He's good too. He's got a Michelin star somewhere, but it's one of those things that you you have to want it. You have to want to go into work for a minimum of to be good. I mean, you can just have a job and do a 6-hour shift and go home. But if you want to really hone your craft, you will work 10 plus hours every day. You will. I did it. I don't miss it. I don't miss that aspect of it. But I don't want to scare people away from doing it at the same time. You have to really be willing to, is the point I'm trying to make. And if you are really willing to, and you're listening to me right now and you're like, fuck this guy, he's a coward. I mean, yeah, I was scared. I just said it. Guilty. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to make those sacrifices that needed to be made. I couldn't, in my mind, I couldn't rationalize making those choices. But if you're one of those people who feels like you can make those choices and you can make those sacrifices, I wish you the best of luck. And I pray for more like you, because this world needs more Thomas Kellers, more Gordon Ramsays, more mom and pop. All those people you see on, what's that show? Blonde guy. Guy Fieri, the Diners show, where Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. He goes around and he talks to people who own their own restaurants. Be that guy. I mean, be whatever you gotta be to make it in this industry without being under the thumb of a corporate chain. I wish you the best of luck, and send me your info so I can go try your food. I'll be more than willing to. Obviously at a restaurant, not at your house. What's the other place? Joe Beef. That's where I want to go. Joe Beef in Montreal. Anyway, I just have all these names flowing into my mind. I feel like it's one of those things that the future of the industry depends on people like you. If you are one of those people who want to just do it, the future of the industry depends on people who are willing to look at corporate people and be like, fuck you, yeah, you might be $1 million company, but I make good food. Because let's be honest, the only time Pub 99 tastes good is when you're drunk, or if you were born without the use of your taste buds. Sorry. Applebee's sucks. I mean, they all taste the same. They don't. My biggest thing is respect the food, because you have people sacrificing their lives, and I don't mean, again, not a safety thing, sacrificing their lives to raise the animals, or to, let's stop it there. I hate, one of my biggest peeves is the industrial farming of animals. I don't like it. I cannot afford free range everything. But I do not like factory farming. I do not like the fact that there are hundreds of pigs and thousands of chickens and hundreds of cows all in one area. And by area, I mean a closet. Do I eat meat? Absolutely. I eat meat more than I eat anything else. Don't take that out of context. It's just one of those things that I watched a documentary, Food Inc. I believe it's still on Netflix. It's not for the faint of heart. It's about the food industry. Am I guilty of eating a Wendy's burger? Absolutely. I'll eat Wendy's before any other burger joint. But am I guilty? Yes. Do I know what's in that beef patty? Unfortunately for you, yes. I know it's not 100% ground beef. That's bullshit. If it was 100% ground beef, they couldn't sell a burger for $1. I'm sorry, face the facts. How can you? This is just me, and again, I'm not a big fluffy man because I eat nothing but junk. I'm a big fluffy man because I eat, and then I'm gonna blame my metabolism. No. I've always been big. That's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is if you buy 20 chicken nuggets for $3 at Burger King and you feel like that's morally okay, and B, healthy. I mean, not even because it's fried, but it's not chicken. It's it makes me a little upset because those people are swindling you, telling you they're chicken nuggets when they're actually filler nuggets. It's all filler. Hot dogs, I'd rather have a hot dog. At least it's meat. You know what I mean? Yeah, it might be the tongue and the eyeball, but it's part of the animal. It's not grain. It's not potato mixed with animal parts. I mean, as long as you buy like the 100% meat ones. But, I mean, that was a little rant. If I could afford free range animals all the time, I would never buy anything else. But I can't, unfortunately. The things that used to be dirt cheap are now muy expensivo. And the things that used to be muy expensivo are even more expensive. But I can't, because I can't afford it. I'm buying the factory farmed cows, pigs, chickens, and lamb, and well, I don't know how they do lamb. That wasn't on the show, but it's not, and that's why I say I respect ingredients, because even if I do buy those products, I still treat it with the respect of, this was an animal, it died, now it's about to be delicious, and I will not let it go to waste. That's why I don't waste food, is because something died, an animal died, or a farmer spent hours on it, more hours on a farm than I spend anywhere at one given time to bring me this food. So that's where my respect for the food comes in. It's not necessarily a spiritual connection, but it's like that something died, and someone sacrificed time and energy to bring this to me or allow me to have it, and I'm not going to let it go to waste. That's why I don't waste food. But the future of the industry really depends, like I said, on the future. The future of the industry really depends on if there's people listening who want to continue their dream of being a chef. It depends on you. The future of the restaurant industry depends on you, because it's without people like you, it'll just be chain restaurants, and because that's where a lot of people go. It's unfortunate. You have to take into account all the things I talked about. You have to really self-reflect and think and really sit on it, really meditate it. Let that really sit in your head. It's not a cautionary tale. It's just friendly advice. As far as the future for me in food goes, and cooking and the restaurant industry goes, I continue to look for privately owned places. I continue to look for places that don't have... It always worries me when I see pictures of food on the menu. I should be able to want it without having to look at it. I do look for places that are just, a restaurant. It's not part of any corporation or any conglomerate or any chain, and I respect them, and I would rather give them my money, because that's someone who's really working for it. That's someone who's really trying to earn it with a skill that takes years to hone, and it really takes a real dedication to a craft that not many people have the guts to do, have the ability to do. I don't want people to think that I'm downing the industry, because I'm not. I love it. Even though I'm not in it anymore, I love it. I love the dedication it takes. I respect the dedication it takes. I respect the fact that these people are artists and they're skilled. Like, there's people out there who, I enjoy cooking. There's people out there who live, breathe, sleep, dream. That's all they think about is cooking. For a time, so was I. But again, life goes on. Different path. I think that's gonna be it for me. Not too bad by myself. 50 minutes. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little bit about me. I hope you learned a little bit about something that I really care about. I want you to walk away from this with an open heart to what's out there. As far as everything goes, not just the restaurant industry, but just understand that people are sacrificing a lot to. I mean, yeah, they're working and they're getting paid, but it's a sacrifice. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.